So I personally started getting a handle on the objective personality types by using this diagram. So we start with consume and blast. Why? Because of the theory. Consume and blast are the standard axes in terms of orthodox Jungian psychological functions and MBTI. Does that make sense? Where this comes from is part D, the principal and auxiliary functions. That's where Jung wrote about adaptation and compensation in terms of which functions paired off against the other. He also went into this in terms of the type problem in psychopathology. That was another instance where Jung wrote about the principal and auxiliary functions and what proceeded next. This section right here is what gives validity to the MBTI and the 16 personalities when they talk about adaptation and compensation, going from Jung's 8 psychological functions to 16 psychological types. So I carry back forward and say, why do we start with consume and blast? Why do we start with the info animals in terms of learning? Because the info animals represent a first order combinatoric where we're not getting into play or sleep. We're not getting into the energy animals. So if we started with sleep and play, we would be starting with the energy animals. But that technically is jumping ahead in terms of theory. Why? Because we're dealing with Myers-Briggs Day-per-Songs first. Day-per-Song is another word for pure blood, if you will. The clearest instantiation of the orthodox theory in action when dealing with animal functions. So this is why we start with consume, and this is why we start with blast. In terms of theory, consume is something, and in terms of structure, consume is 1 to 2. Same with blast, 1 to 2 or 3 to 4. 1 to 2 or 3 to 4. That's the structural aspect of consume